Have you ever wondered if the myths of giants and fallen angels are more than just stories? What if they were a chilling reality, a forgotten chapter of our history written in stone and whispers? What if, long before our time, beings of immense power descended from the heavens, not as saviors, but as corruptors? This is the story of the Watchers, their forbidden union with humanity, and the cataclysm that followed. Prepare for a journey into a past where heaven and earth collided, and giants walked the land. This is the tale of the fallen madness. In the timeless expanse before human history was recorded, the heavens were a realm of perfect harmony and radiant light. Legions of celestial beings, the sons of God, stood in glorious service to the Most High. They were pure, obedient, and bathed in divine effulgence. But this celestial peace was not to last. A shadow of desire began to creep into the hearts of some. A faction of these angelic beings, captivated by the raw, untamed beauty of the nascent earth and its inhabitants, began to stray. They looked upon the daughters of men and were consumed by a longing that defied their sacred purpose. Led by the influential angels Semjaza and Azazel, this rebellion took form. They convinced others to join their cause, to abandon their celestial duties for earthly pleasures. On the peak of Mount Hermon, a place that would forever be marked by their transgression, they gathered. There, they swore a binding oath, a pact of mutual imprecation, sealing their shared descent into a world they were meant only to observe. They vowed to defy divine law, to walk among mortals, to take human wives, and to forever alter the destiny of mankind. The stage was set for a divine tragedy, an event that would unleash chaos and suffering upon the world below. 200 of these celestial beings, now known as the Watchers, descended from the heavens. Their arrival was not a gentle one. They tore through the sky, cloaked in fire, shadow, and a mystery that both terrified and intrigued the mortals below. The earth itself seemed to shudder as they made their presence known. With them, they brought knowledge that was never meant for human minds. They became mankind's first, and most dangerous, teachers. They unveiled the forbidden arts, sorcery that twisted the fabric of reality, astrology that sought to divine the future, the secrets of metallurgy for crafting weapons, and the brutal strategies of war. The hearts of men, once simple, grew proud and ambitious under their tutelage, and the world was irrevocably changed. The daughters of men, mesmerized by these powerful beings, conceived and bore their children. But these were no ordinary offspring. They were the Nephilim, a race of giants. From birth, they were beings of immense stature and terrifying strength, growing at an unnatural rate. Their very presence was a blight upon the land. With an insatiable hunger, they devoured the resources of the earth, their appetites consuming the harvests, the livestock, and eventually, one another. They were titans who ruled not with wisdom, but with iron fists and brute force, their eyes glowing with an ancient, forbidden knowledge that set them apart from all of creation. The reign of the Nephilim plunged the world into an age of unprecedented corruption. These giants spread across the continents, a ravenous tide that consumed everything in its path. They enslaved humanity, forcing them to toil and bleed to build their colossal cities of stone and blood. The earth, once a garden, became a realm of chaos, violence, and despair. The air was thick with the smoke of burning cities and the sounds of constant warfare. The cries of the innocent, the oppressed, and the dying rose in a ceaseless torrent, piercing the very heavens and demanding justice. The wickedness of man, amplified by the giant's influence, had grown great in the earth, and every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Yet, in this age of darkness, a single light of truth flickered. Lamech, the father of Noah, a righteous man, a scribe, and a seer, was granted visions of the coming doom. In the desolate wilderness, away from the corrupted cities, he recorded the truth on scrolls. He wrote of the Watcher's fall, the terror of the giants, and the inevitable, cleansing wrath of God that was to come. He stood as a lone prophet, his voice a desperate warning against the raging storm of sin. But his words fell on deaf ears. The people, drunk on the power and knowledge the Watchers had given them, mocked his visions and dismissed his prophecies. Still, Lamech stood firm, a solitary beacon of righteousness in a world drowning in its own iniquity. He prophesied, "The heavens weep, the earth groans, the flood shall come, and only the righteous shall endure." Finally, the cries of the earth could no longer be ignored. The Most High looked down upon the corruption and declared that it must end. He dispatched his most powerful archangels, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel, to enact his divine judgment. They descended not as teachers, but as warriors of light. Their mission was to bind the rebellious Watchers, stripping them of their power and casting them into the abyss, reserved in everlasting chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day. Without their father's guidance, the giants, driven by their insatiable nature, turned their savagery upon one another. A great war erupted amongst them, and they began to devour their own kind, their colossal forms falling across the land they had ruined. As this divine purge took place, the skies themselves began to change. The sun was obscured, and the floodgates of heaven prepared to open. But amidst the judgment, there was a promise of preservation. Noah, the son of the prophet Lamech, was a righteous man, blameless in his generation, and he found favor in the eyes of God. He was commanded to build an ark, a colossal vessel of salvation, a sanctuary against the coming deluge. As the last of the giants fell and the watchers were imprisoned in darkness, Noah, his family, and a male and female of every living creature boarded the ark. Then, the first drops began to fall. Not a gentle shower, but the beginning of a cataclysmic downpour that would cleanse the world of its corruption and begin history anew. Though the great flood washed the earth clean, erasing the giants and their cities of blood, the echoes of the Nephilim were not silenced forever. Their memory lingers. We see it in the myths of titans and giant heroes passed down through generations. We feel it in the shadows of ancient, megalithic ruins that defy explanation. We hear it in the whispers carried on the wind, tales of a time when gods and monsters walked the earth. The story of the Watchers and their gargantuan children is more than a myth. It is a timeless warning, a cautionary tale about the dangers of pride, the corrupting influence of forbidden knowledge, and the certainty of divine justice. A reminder that even spirits can rise against the children of men, and that we must always be vigilant. Thank you so much for joining us on this epic journey into the past. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into forgotten history and mythology. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.